So in the hard money loan business, I get an email every day with updates of people who are flipping in the state of California. You can develop lists so when somebody meets your criteria, whether it's property specific, if it's a home services provider and somebody refinances a cash out, and you want to be one of the very first mailers to end up on their doorstep because they got cash. I mean, that's the kind of power that the data can be there for. It's just you have to figure out how you want to leverage it.
Hey there, I'm Chad Carson. You can also call me Coach. Welcome to Coach Carson TV, which is all about real estate investing, achieving financial independence, and doing more of what matters. I'm now going to take you to a clip from an interview with Aaron Norris. He's with Property Radar, a data company for real estate investors, also a longtime real estate investor, grew up in the business of flipping and buying rental properties and hard money lending. So a wealth of knowledge about real estate investing. I think you'll enjoy the topics we get into. I'll take you there right now. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the little bell so you don't miss anything. We have new videos that come out every Friday morning. I think you'll enjoy them. Now, on to the interview. It's exciting to think about when you apply some of these changes and what your imagination goes, right? Your creativity just like, all right, there's going to be ways that as a knowledgeable investor who pays attention to trends, who knows your local market, who uses data, who knows yourself and what your own strategy is, that there's so many opportunities. And that tends to be the case with technology, right? I mean, yeah, it's going to disrupt some things, it's going to change things, but going back to the fear conversation, every time one of those disruptions happen, there are also just a plethora of just new kind of choices, new opportunities. And I love that you're always paying attention to that, because that's what we have to do. We have to innovate every year, 2, 6 months. It's always a constant process of adapting and changing.
And I think I'm glad you brought up the word local. I just really believe in small business. I believe that if we can be a little bit more savvy, data isn't just for Wall Street anymore. We just have to get more savvy. There's no excuse. There's just really not. But for the local investor, realtor, mortgage professional who can also tie into local politics and look for opportunities in upzoning and opportunity zones, there are things that happen at the local level. And I'll give you a great example. I'm on the nonprofit board out here for a 211, which runs the Help and Human Services hotline. And if you don't know this resource as a landlord, you're missing out. 211 is like the 411 for help. It's got a database nationwide of nonprofit resources, government resources. Our United Way raised over $30 million for small businesses, including landlords. There was a local landlord who just got $500,000 to help with grants to backfill for tenants that were behind. If you're not paying attention, I know sometimes landlords own in a lot of different counties. Even if you're in the same state, you miss out by not paying attention to that local resource. And it's getting more difficult because a lot of local media is dying. So it takes a little bit of extra effort. But if you're paying attention, there might be some things there for you that you don't know exist.
Yeah, and just get invested in your community. That's one thing that's benefited me so much, that I've done direct mail and all that over the years, but just being a volunteer, investing, being a person, a community member, a normal community member, no tricks, nothing else. Just, hey, I'm just in my community. You start learning about things that are going on. I volunteered for my planning commission, which got me into trying to build trails and greenways. And now, and none of that stuff for money, that's just, but you learn and you can communicate with people, and deals happen too, of course, but it's fulfilling to do that.
Brought that up. The concept of authentically getting back with no agenda other than to do the right thing. Yeah. I think what you just said is where people miss out. They show up, I'm going to serve on a board because I'm going to kill it. That's a conflict of interest when you show up on a board and to serve. And you know what? It feels bad too. People smell it out right away. But if you're there for the right reasons and you give back, you get back. It may take some times, but what you give is what you get. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Well, I do want to segue, and this is kind of my final, I want to talk a little bit more about Property Radar and what you guys do, but I want to kind of going back to your own personal story. One of the things I found interesting was you talking about this path of investing and making money, but also giving back, which you just mentioned. And the motto here on my podcast and my site is do what matters, is that you're trying to make money and build wealth. Yes, because real estate's fun and we're nerds and we love this stuff, but also because you're here on earth to do what matters, to find out what connects you to what's exciting and your enthusiasm and giving back. And so I'm just curious for you, like Aaron, you've had some success in a lot of different avenues. You've had investing success now, buying your own rental properties. What kinds of things or fun for you, matter to you, that you like to spend your time on when money has no determination of what you're going to do?
The arts is always a passion of mine. I just love giving back in creative ways. The nonprofit space, one of my goals in life is to help more real estate investors explore charitable remainder trusts, charitable lead trusts, and understand that giving real estate is a possibility in many different ways. And the other side of that is preparing nonprofits. If you haven't served on boards, nonprofits are typically not prepared to receive gifts of real estate or trust deeds or alternative assets in general. They're scared. They're nonprofit. They're not, in the business of running those assets, but it could completely change their trajectory. So I'm fascinated in that space. So I still volunteer. I've had to back up a little bit as nationwide property radar. I'll be focused more on Main Street and helping small businesses kick some serious butt in the years ahead. And that gets me really excited. I pinch myself. I get to share data nationwide with real estate investors to get them excited about, and all part of my story is always going to be to give, get, or get off at the local level. Show up, give back in meaningful ways. And I think that's what it's so important. The iBuying trend that gets most exciting to me is the Keller Williams, the Realogy brands that are going to have access to that, not these big Wall Street companies that don't have a local office or local presence. I just really believe in living, hiring, giving local. It's real estate is local. So I believe in what we do, what we bring to the community. So I get to share that message nationwide this year, which is pretty fun.
It's like you're giving somebody like a toolbox of, hey, local investor, here you go. Here's the tools that you can go kick some butt, buy some houses, make some money, retire, do what matters. There you go.
And automation too. I think it's not just getting lost in the data. It's the chocolate conversation. It's then helping them explore with data that they don't even know exists. Like if you want to send postcards to people 65 years or older that give to animal charities, that data is there. And people just don't realize how granular that you can get. And then automation. I really want to see our industry get more sophisticated in the automation front. I think it's going to be necessary to compete with some of these Wall Street companies, and it doesn't have to be as scary as it sounds. So.
Well, talk to me about Property Radar and what you guys have going on, because you've got some cool new stuff happening. You've been in business the Property Radar has been around for a while, but I think for people around
for
the country, tell me some things that are going on with Property Radar.
Property Radar just went national in November. If we've been in the Western states, California, Oregon, Nevada, Washington, and Oregon for the last 13 years. Anybody who's been a serious trustee sale buyer has been using Property Radar. I know the Norris Group has. I used Property Radar for 7 years in the hard money lending business. So we cater to realtors, mortgage, real estate investors, property managers, and home services. Anybody who has a real estate centric business who needs a consistent source of leads, that's who we help. So we have property data, people data, mortgage data. So it's the combination of all that with over 200 fields, which is really powerful. So you tell me a niche and I could probably back you into some really cool local, hyper localized data that allows you to do the best of inbound and outbound. So I think there's a misconception that, oh, it's just another marketing list. No, we append emails and phone numbers, mobile numbers, links to social media. So you can reach out in whatever channel. It's about the right audience, the right message at the right time, at the right channel. That's powerful stuff. And it's not just for Wall Street anymore.
And so when you say inbound, so if I'm somebody who is, I'm getting some leads from somebody says, hey, this house is vacant over on the other side of town. Is that what you mean? You can then research that property individually as opposed to like building a list that you're marketing to 1,000 names. Is that, I'll make sure I understood that right.
Inbound and outbound, mostly meaning marketing. So direct mail versus PPC ads. I think we have to get more sophisticated, and I think real estate investors are going to find themselves a little frustrated with paid campaigns, quite honestly, because these Wall Street companies are driving up cost and purposely trying to push you out. I have an email from a hard money Wall Street company, admittedly trying to throw us under the bus and to outspend us and to bury us using our actual names in their click ads. Crazy town. So we just have to get a little bit more sophisticated. So it's the best of direct mail. You know what? Then again, I have people who just use Property Radar and only phone call. They're really good at phone calls, and that's all that they have to do. And he knows that. So he brought himself forward into the data.
Yeah.
But yeah, inbound, outbound, mostly marketing. And then from there, if you were saying something about the,
Yeah, I was just explaining the product to people. So like, yeah, I think it seems really robust for me. You know, hey, you can generate data that can be very specific and tailored towards going out and finding people who might be a customer for you. Somebody wants to sell you a house. And I was just curious, when they get a lead on something and they're just trying to dig into that property, who's the owner? How do I figure out if this is an opportunity or not? If that's something also that has some relevancy with gathering data as well.
yes, say you are driving for dollars, you're running around and you see something boarded up. That's where you could go into Property Radar and search that specific property. Who's the owner? What's the mailing address? Is there a phone number and email that's there? Find out all the transactions. We have all the transactions on the property, so you can see when they took out a loan, if it's in pre-foreclosure. I mean, there's so much data on the property, and you can actually use the app to take pictures and notes. It's almost like a property CRM, if you will. On the other side, if you're creating robust lists, like before Property Radar went to Florida, I was going to my local title rep and buying lists. And, the terrible thing about that is that it goes out of date and there's nothing actionable in that. So what's cool about Property Radar is you can create dynamic lists. So say I only want to talk to people with 50% equity that are owner occupants, that are over a certain age, knowing that maybe seniors are net sellers of real estate. Well, when somebody new fits that criteria, when I build a list, I could get an email. So in the hard money loan business, I get an email every day with updates of people who are flipping in the state of California. You can develop lists so when somebody meets your criteria, whether it's property specific, if it's a home services provider and somebody refinances a cash out, and you want to be one of the very first mailers to end up on their doorstep because they got cash. I mean, that's the kind of power that the data can be there for. It's just you have to figure out how you want to leverage it. So we could talk about any kind of strategy. It's there.
Yeah. I hope you enjoyed that clip from my interview with Aaron Norris. If you'd like to hear the full interview, you can see a link below to my recent podcast episode. And I would love to hear from you in the comment section below. If you have any follow-up questions, do you have any suggestions, do you have any comments about the interview, always enjoy hearing from you. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the little bell so you don't miss anything. Every Friday morning, I have a new episode that comes out, and I think you'll enjoy some of those. And if you enjoyed this interview about the big picture of real estate investing, about data, about how to be a good real estate investor, I think you'll like my nitty-gritty real estate investing playlist, which you can see in the description below. It goes into just the practical side of real estate investing, things that you can apply and use in your real estate investing business right now. Thank you for watching Coach Carson TV today. My name is Chad Carson. You can call me Coach, and this channel is all about real estate investing, achieving financial independence, and doing more of what matters. See you next time.